Welcome back or welcome to the podcast. I'm Gwen. Thank you so much for being here today. This podcast is all about creating an awesome life. Today is starting as a very glorious day. Woke up very early in the morning with the tiny baby. And, you're having one of those mornings where you're kind of tired. And then your husband swoops in and says, "Do you want me to take the baby for a walk?" Yes, yes, I do. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to rest, lie down, read a book. And then I just got that impulse that it's time to record this podcast on time auditing. I know what kind of a person am I? But really, this got me way more excited because it's something that I care so much about. And I imagine you do too. Have you essentially felt yourself wondering more than once, where is my time going? If you have been wondering this podcast is for you because I did a little experiment on time auditing and I'm excited to share with you all about it. So in this episode, I'll share with you what exactly is a time audit, how to do one, and what I learned. And I hope that you can get some insights and maybe by the end, you'll be curious to try this out on your own life. So time auditing, it's essentially the process of meticulously tracking and analyzing how you spend every minute of your day. I'm laughing because it just sounds like, wow, really? We're going to monitor every minute? Yes, we are. And the whole intention behind it is to figure out what you're actually doing in the day and then optimize your life for productivity, figuring out what you really want to do with your life, and just overall efficiency. And I do believe efficiency and excellence are two of my core values. So I am here for this. And what really got me going on this as well is I had, if you've listened to a past episode of the podcast, I one day looked at my screen time and it was like 10 hours on my phone because I just had my phone on all the time, playing podcasts, YouTube videos, scrolling, looking stuff up. And I just thought, wow, my life is staring at a screen. And I have a baby, a newborn baby. And so I want to spend more time with him versus having the phone be my constant companion. So that was really one of the catalysts for me. And also, I'm in a really beautiful phase of life where I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I essentially have complete time autonomy to figure out how to create the day. And so I was like, what am I doing with the day? It seems good. The day ends and then we do it again. But like, what did I do? So I want to share with you how I actually did my time audit and then, see if this resonates with you, if you do something similar or you do it your own way. So how I did it was how to track the time. What I would do is I used a Google Calendar to actually track the time. And I don't have a very rigid schedule these days. So what I would do is I would live some life and then log it on the calendar. And of course, it was not absolutely perfect. But as you know, if you've been listening as well, I'm reading a book on perfectionism and we're having self-compassion. But honestly, it was really fun to look back on those 2 weeks and see, ooh, what did I do in this chunk? What did I do in this chunk? So after you actually write down what you've done for 2 weeks or a week, then it's time to actually categorize the activities. How much time did you spend on work-related tasks? How much did you spend on personal activities or leisure time or social media or scrolling or whatever you do in your day? And if you're using a Google Calendar, it's pretty easy. You can color code it and see what you're actually doing. Then this is really the fun part to me, is looking around to analyze some patterns. So you want to look at these patterns in the data in your time audit to see what's going on in my life. Are there certain activities that are consuming way more time than I expected? Are you spending enough time on tasks that align with your goals? So what I would do is I essentially highlighted in red the times that just felt rough, that felt just like not fun, that felt like I was like wasting my time. Or there were some times when I would just put in no idea or like, quote, went unconscious or went dark, which to me means I just tapped out. I just was like, I can't do this. I can't time audit. I'm just going to be watching something on YouTube or watching something unintentionally or just lying down without having any intention behind it. So those were red times when it was just, ugh, this is not fun. Or if I had a meeting or a conversation with somebody and I just felt pretty horrible afterwards. Or I remember I went on, I hadn't been on LinkedIn in quite some time, and I went on LinkedIn and immediately just felt like, oh, I have to get off LinkedIn right now. Probably because I'm not in the phase of life where I'm extremely career focused. So just seeing all these announcements of career stuff was just like triggering me in a weird way. So I'm like, okay, we're not going on LinkedIn unless we're in creation versus consume mode. So those were a couple really interesting insights for me. And I would highlight in yellow what I thought were just really good times. And there were some really interesting surprises to me. So I always highlighted in yellow when I had a midday nap. I was like, with the baby was asleep, I was asleep. I was thrilled. It was nap time. And I think what I loved about that is, when in your life do you give yourself permission? I never really give myself permission to rest, but I really did. I'm like, we are going to rest. So any intentional rest became a really exciting moment for me. Also, activities like podcasting activities, carving out some times to do something that I find really fun is a creative expression. I love to learn and share what I'm learning. And so having a space to create a podcast is honestly a really great moment for me if I'm doing it from a place of my cup runneth over with energy versus, oh, I gotta put out content this week. Every time I tried to do that, the podcast just combusted and I had to start again anyway. So got to do these things from a place of alignment. Also, some really fun moments I highlighted in yellow when I sat down to watch a few episodes of the Kardashians on Hulu and eating ice cream. Now, this was yellow to me because it was very intentional. It's like, we're going to sit down and watch the Kardashians. And I also feel like because they're all business women, there's like a little bit of business knowledge and they're like real family people. I really honestly admire and want to conjure their ability to be so close to family. And it's just beautiful to watch them all with their nieces and nephews growing up. I'm a little not jealous, as we say. We're turning that around. One saying I've heard from being a member of this online community, the support system, is when you're jealous, you just say, I want some of that, having that family around that's really close. So basically, the highlights were anything that was really needed and wanted, and just things that I really enjoyed. It was really fun to figure out, what do I enjoy doing at this phase in my life? Now, the next step could be identifying your quote time wasters, or what feels like, man, to me, it's what were low energy moments where I honestly want to focus more on your energy truly versus time, essentially. But what felt like you were really low energy or quote wasting time or just feeling like, ugh. And a real pattern that emerged to me is that nighttime scrolling of just, it's so funny. It's like, at the end of the day, like I'm tired. I would like to go to sleep, but something within me says we need to stay up and start learning about a topic or watching a podcast. Or it's so strange. It's almost like I feel like I didn't get enough out of the day, so I refuse to go to sleep. And so that's why I start scrolling. So that is also probably another reason why I wanted to do a time on it. So I could say, Gwen, you lived the best day you could. It's sleep time now. Let's try again tomorrow. So then the next step could be prioritizing and optimizing your life. If you are in that stage where you're really trying to, truly optimize and figure out what are the high priority things you want to do and really minimize your time on the non-essential activities because you have very clear goals, that's what I would do next. Here's what I learned. At this stage of my life, I really just want to squeeze all the juice out of the day. I want to go to sleep at night and feel like I lived the best possible day, had the most fun, was the most present, had the most aligned day possible. There's no strong goals for me right now of, oh, I want to have this kind of business, or I want to be in this kind of shape, or hit this weight loss goal, or this is a weird nebulous missed moment for the type A achiever over here. There's no goals, just vibes. God. It's really just enjoying the day. That is the dream. And that requires for me a delicate balance of being productive and also resting. I do believe in balance. I believe in balance. The reason I say that is so many times entrepreneurs or people will say, oh, there's no such thing as balance. I disagree. I say that different activities produce different energy levels within you, and feeling kind of balanced, feeling like your nervous system is feeling calmed and good is a good thing. So I think I am going for a balanced day, but mostly on the higher end of the fun vibes, hopefully. And I also learned I really just want to honor the season I'm in. And that season is a lot of going with the flow, focusing on raising a newborn baby and being a great wife, a great family member, a great person to myself. And yeah, that doesn't look like rigid scheduling at this point in time. And another kind of practical thing I did was I also use a habit tracker called Simply Habit every month to just kind of have some foundations of practices to help me stay in balance. And so learning from this time audit, I updated some of the different things that I'm doing to include actual like exercise now, and also updated my daily practices to have airplane mode on at 8 p.m. So I might still use my phone or my iPad to scroll or to read a book or something, but we're not scrolling. No unconscious scrolling. That is canceled. That's the dream. So final thoughts. Time freedom is a dream for so many of us. But what happens when you actually get complete freedom with your time? Will you know what to do with it? It is a very helpful practice to try and figure that out now. And if you have a job, a busy life, where can you find a pocket of time where you can do a time audit and be very intentional with what you do in your day? Maybe it's a Saturday. Maybe it's waking up a bit early and you have from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. on a Sunday. Whatever it is, we got to practice a little bit of the weekend living during the week, if you can, as well, if you really want to start cultivating more freedom in your life. That happened to me because when I did get laid off from my full-time job and I was running a business at the same time, I had started a little bit cultivating what it's like to have a little bit more free time. And so when I was laid off, I didn't panic. I was kind of thinking about, the writing was on the wall. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is practice the life you want so that when it shows up, you're ready. So thank you so much for listening to this episode today. If you try this, leave me a comment or share your experience with me about how it went. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Excited to see you next week.